8:34. Clerk, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Ding,
Here.
Councilmember Harrington,
Here.
Councilmember Menchaca, Councilmember Menchaca.
Here.
We will now have some announcement from our Assistant City Clerk.
Tonight's meeting is live streamed on Cable Channel 3 and our online platforms. Public comments may be presented in person or emailed to cityclerk@sgch.org and will be read for up to 3 minutes each. Comments received after the end of public comments section will be forwarded to the City Council after the meeting. If you wish to be added to the distribution list to receive City Council agendas, please email your request to cityclerk@sgch.org.
First item, please.
Vice Mayor, we have received no public comments tonight.
No public comments, okay. Next item, please.
Interviews of applicants for the City Council vacancies. Applicants will be interviewed to fill 2 unscheduled vacancies. The candidates appointed to fill the vacant seats will serve as council members until the certification of the next general municipal election to be held on November 6, 2022. We have had 4 applicants withdraw their application as of last night's agenda posting. Ana Magna Pukar, Scott Doucette, Christopher Garcia, and Nick Nye. City Manager Lazaretto will describe the interview process suggested for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Vice Mayor. So I would suggest the following process for tonight, and at the end of my summary for how we'll proceed, it's completely up to the council to decide how the process will go, so feel free to change or modify anything that I am suggesting. I will tell you that everything that I am suggesting was given to the candidates last night, so they were aware of it, and it was also posted on the city's website so that the public would have the benefit of seeing the suggested process. I think I speak for everybody here at the table that we are trying to be as transparent as possible through this whole process, and that's one of our #1 goals, probably second only to picking great candidates, but transparency is paramount to us. So the suggestion is that we allow each candidate to speak for 5 minutes. We will unfortunately be very strict about those 5 minutes so that we are equitable to every candidate. So if somebody is talking through that 5 minutes, I will politely interrupt them. They have been given a suggested statement as far as what they should present, and that statement is to present a background that they feel summarizes their qualifications for being a city council person, as well as what their involvement has been with the community, and then finally why they wish to become a council member. If they have time left in their 5 minutes after giving that statement, then council will be able to ask questions. We will go from council member to council member in order. Unfortunately, I apologize, I'll be cutting my bosses off as well if they go past the 5 minutes for the time period, and I will also be cutting off maybe 2 of my future bosses, so I apologize to everybody for that. But all kidding aside, we will keep it as consistent as possible, so when we finish one question, the next council person will be able to answer or ask, a question for the next applicant. At the end of tonight's interviews, the suggestion will be that each council person come up with 8 names. I said in the information that I sent out 10 names, but with the people that have withdrawn from the process, it seems like 8 would be a better number. So my suggestion is 8 names, and each of the council members has a sheet of paper with all of the candidates' names on them. They will fill out the 8 names that they feel they would like to hear more from tomorrow in a longer format interview process. I will pull my computer up on the screen to my right, and I will tally all of those votes so that you all can see those. And at the end, I'm presuming we will have a few candidates with 3 votes. We will have some candidates with 2 votes, and some with 1 and some with 0. At the end of that, I think there will be a natural cutoff for which candidates we will want to bring back tomorrow and which we will thank for their participation. My suggestion is that we all agree that it be no more than 5 or 6 today so that we can have those meaningful conversations tomorrow and that it doesn't drag on late into the evening. So the suggestion will be if we have folks that have 3 votes and there are 4 or 5 or 6 of those folks with 3 votes, that will likely be who we ask back. And if we have more, then we'll have to figure out how to do a second round of voting to try and pare that down a little bit. We can talk if we end up with 2 people that end up with 3 votes about whether we want to bring some other folks back, but I will leave that part of the discussion for later on tonight when we vote and tally those. And then finally, we have everybody in alphabetical order, and that's the way we will call the candidates. But in the interest of fairness, so that somebody whose last name starts with C or W isn't given an unfair advantage or a disadvantage, my recommendation is that we will draw a random number and then start with the person of that number and then move forward from there alphabetically. We'll go to the end and start at the beginning until we get back to our last person. So that's my summary of the suggestion for tonight. I would be turning it over to the Vice Mayor and having you deliberate as to how you all want to conduct the night from that forward. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mark. Okay. Yeah, thank you to the well-prepared, and also thanks all the applicants has the kind of passion for our special, the appointment. We lost to the Council C, right? It's one is medical reason, one is for the go to the Biden ministry, the position. So, and I really feel like for me, it's also really feel our community really have a lot of residents care our city. Okay, so and that's right now just short statement. And really, thanks all the candidate coming to apply. And then I think I can agree the market just do the random. It's not just for alphabetically. So random, let all the candidate can based on the computer random to pick up who's first to come in on the stage to presentation. I don't know the rest of council member would be agree or not.
I agree.
Okay, all right. So we can, and but I think maybe also just to double clarify. Remember that every candidate just only 5 minutes, include the council the question too. If your statement just 2 minutes, maybe we have more time to answer the question. And if you statement the 5 minutes, no question can ask. Okay, just to let the people example understand it. Okay, all right. So then right now, city manager will be call each candidate in the random number to interview.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I just want to reiterate, so we're sort of agreeing to 4 or 5 or 6 folks at the end of the night, that's what we're all shooting towards. And then that we will choose 8 folks at the end of the night. I just want to clarify these at the beginning so at the end we don't have any discussions about changing the process or whatever. And that seems to be good with everybody?
Yeah. Okay.
Are we agreeing on 4, 5, or 6, or one of those? We're going to bring 4 back, or we're going to bring 5 back? Or I think that's on us, the 3 of us need to make that decision.
Well, I think once you see the count, I mean, depending on how many people get 3 votes and 2 votes, I'm assuming 3 and 2 will equal somehow 6. I mean, that's a natural cutoff.
But I mean, it's possible we have no 3s and 6s. We bring only, that's what I'm saying.
8 twos.
2s, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
2s.
yeah.
Yes, it could be that.
Yeah, it could be that too.
So would we bring all 8 back, or 6 of them? That's kind of, if we say 3, 4.
Well, if it's a 2, then whoever gets the 2, you can't really eliminate unless you want to have that discussion now. I mean, I would be comfortable bringing back 8 versus 6 if they all got 2s. Because we're not ranking them, we're just picking at random 8 candidates without ranking them, just 8.
For my understanding, so we, all the 3 council members, each person pick up the 8 candidate you think are the top 10, top 8. Then based on how many vote for each candidate, we will see, well, we probably have the more bigger result, so we can pick up the 6 or 8, or some, as maybe 5, based on the situation. I think it's more better for the after interview, and we pick up the 3 councilmen, pick up all 8. Maybe, for example, maybe 6 person is got all 3 agree. Maybe we can pick up that, right?
Yeah.
Or, or like maybe just 1 person got our 3 agree, the rest of the 2 to 1. So maybe we can see how many 2 to 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy, would you mind turning on the projector, please? All right, so I have a random number generator, the Google random number generator on the screen. It has from 1 to 19. I'll hit generate, and it will come up with a number like that. Everybody's good with that? I am going to hit generate, and we will start.
We trust the mark. Okay.
the
The fear.
computer.
It's just computer with a magic finger, right?
So we will start with number 19.
Okay.
So number 19 will be Mr. Wu, if I remember right. Yes, so John Wu will be number 1, and then we will go through after that.
No, you got the wrong one.
Oh, I think because currently we only have 19 candidates, not on our number. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
So I have the list on the screen, and it has everybody who is
Okay.
remaining.
Okay. All right. Actually, on the number, he's the last one. Right now, it's pick up first one.
We certainly do. Thank you very much. So that's why we've got folks separated up in the boxes, and we'll be bringing them in 3 or 4 at a time, and we just had to get this first one settled, but that's a great suggestion. Thank you. Mr. Wu, thank you. All right, so you understand the process?
So can I start?
So do you understand the
Yeah.
process? You under the 5 minutes, and I'll
5
be
minutes.
cutting you off?
I see.
Okay, and I will, I'll hold my hand up when there's 1 minute left, just so you have an idea of how much time you have left.
Sure.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wu. You may begin.
Hi, Vice Mayor Dean, Council Member Machanka, Council Member Harrington, and every applicant, good evening. Well, I'm John Wu, and I want to try to make this really brief because I thought I will be the last one to make the statements, but I'm the number 1 now. Just want to briefly, I'm not going to repeat much about what I have been written on my resume, but I just want to share that I have lived in St. Gabriel for 21 years. This is my home, and I have my home office in the same address. I graduated from a tourism college in Austria, Europe, major in hotel management. I obtained my bachelor's degree from Cal State LA, And back in 1999, my first job in St. Gabriel was a sushi chef. And that was a name called Notori Restaurant in Focus Plaza. And I also worked for another one, which is called Daike, which is on the southwest corner on Las Tunas in St. Gabriel Boulevard. What I want to say is from student to an employee, then a business owner, a real estate professional, then a certified instructor. Everything happens here in the city. I witnessed this. St. Gabriel's growing and becoming a better and a more prosperous city. I would like to continue to work with our council members to accomplish the goals and missions of progress of St. Gabriel and continue my role as a bridge builder to our community. Bring all communities working together, Asian communities, non-Asian community, business community, residential, public safety, together, we get our city stronger. I'm a business person, and I'm actively involved in community services. What I have learned and experienced from my work as a volunteer is to listen, find the right information, be objective, make the right decision, moving forward to the right direction and solve the problems. Things do not happen, things are made to happen. I'm a member of St. Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. I served as the president of Chinese American Real Estate Professional Association and also president of Taiwan Benevolent Association America, which consists 24 chapters nationwide. I was the president liaison of National Association of Realtors, which is the largest trade association in the United States. All I'm doing is connecting the business, bridging successful partnership, bringing opportunities to our communities. This is the place where I started my career and a place where my child grows up. I want an opportunity to expand what I am doing now. Together, we make St. Gabriel a premier city to run business, to live, work, and play. Thank you again, Vice Mayor Dean, Councilmember Panchenka, Councilmember Harrington, and City Manager, and all the city staff that having me here tonight. This is a unique opportunity for me to share my thought, my voice from the bottom of my heart, no matter what decision will be made. Thank you for all for keeping St. Gabriel moving forward. Thank you very much.
We have 1 minute left, so Vice Mayor Ding.
Okay. So my question is very short talk, not on the application. Okay, if you got appointed, did you still continue for the November election? Second, if you didn't get appointed, did you still go to the November election too?
Yes, let me answer the last one. If I don't get appointed, I will run for the city councilman in November. If I will be appointed, then I will run for the next elections in November as well. But it doesn't mean that I will be reelected if I fail on my duties as an appointed council member. So I would like to leave the decision for our resident citizens that if they're satisfied with my service and how I can achieve for the city.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. There are 6 seconds left, so.
Should I sing? But thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Next, we have George Carney. Thank you, Mr. Carney. Are you ready?
I'm certainly ready.
All right.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Ding, Councilmember Menchaca, Councilmember Harrington, and thank you for this opportunity to meet with you and tell you a little about myself and hear your questions. I'll try to make a very brief statement and then leave as much time as possible for questions from you. My reason for seeking this appointment is pretty much my background, which is a lifetime of residence in San Gabriel. I grew up in this city. I went to school here. I've never had any other home. When I moved out of my parents' home, I moved into the home I live in now. My children are products of San Gabriel. This community has been my home and my only home for my entire life. I have been involved in the community, I think, in a variety of ways. Way back in the 1970s, I had a business for a number of years here in San Gabriel. I operated my business with a tax and accounting practice. I was a vice president and director of the Chamber of Commerce. At that time, I was a member of San Gabriel Kiwanis. When I sold my business, I went into teaching. I didn't go very far because the second half of my teaching career was spent in San Gabriel Public Schools, first at Jefferson and then at Gabrielino. And when I retired from teaching, I continued to work for the San Gabriel School District for another 9 years as their energy manager. During that time, I have been involved in many more community activities than I can think of. When I was young and ran my accounting practice, I was a member of San Gabriel JCs. The high spot of that was one memorable Christmas riding the fire truck with Santa Claus, which my kids still think about. I have been a member of San Gabriel Rotary. I was actually director and president-elect of San Gabriel Rotary. I'm now an officer and director of San Gabriel Kiwanis. I am an officer and treasurer of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance, Chinatown Lodge, which is not directly a San Gabriel organization, although a number of San Gabriel residents are members of that group. I think my vision of San Gabriel, or what I see in San Gabriel, is largely watching the neighborhood I live in, my city, change enormously during my lifetime. Evolve is probably a better word. And yet, despite all the changes, it hasn't changed that much. In the sense, it is still, I think, a very desirable, wonderful community in which to live. And that is primarily my goal for wanting to serve on this council, to see if we can continue to make it and improve it a desirable place to live. My activities as a teacher and then with the school district gave me a perspective. I think watching the young people and hearing their comments and their attitudes, I think gave me a unique perspective on that. So I think basically, San Gabriel's my home. It's a wonderful place. It has given me a very good life. It gave my children and my family a very good life. I would like to continue to do what I can to help it grow and evolve into its, well, we're halfway through its 3rd century of existence. I'd like to be a part of that. And with that, I would welcome any questions from any of you.
Councilman Harrington? You have 90 seconds.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thanks, George. I appreciate you stepping up to apply for this. I think I liked Vice Mayor Ding's question regarding whether appointed or not. Would you have run in November, or would you run in November? And I think this part 2 of that is, what would your campaign be based on?
I was leaning towards running. I can't say I can't say for certainly that I was planning to. No, that would be dishonest. If I were to run, I think my campaign would be a couple of things. The city is facing some challenges that I see. One is financial, although it's turned the corner in, I think, in dealing with that financial. The other that I think is going to be a challenge is the change in housing laws. That's going to transform the community. Whether we like it or not, or agree with it or not, it's going to transform the community, and I think it's going to need some wise stewardship to help ease that transition. So I think those are the 2 issues that I would say are the most critical.
Thank you.
We have 20 seconds left. Councilwoman Chaka?
I'll just pass with 20 seconds, but thank you for applying. I'm passing on my questions.
Thank you, Mr. Carney.
Thank you very much.
Next, we'll have Eric Chant.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
Are you ready?
Start? Okay, yeah, my name is Eric Chan. Most of you know me. I'm an elected director to the San Gabriel County Water District Board, and I have been proudly serving for the last, since 2013. So we're an organization in charge of a $10 million annual budget and $50 million in assets. It's a big responsibility. I take it seriously, and I think I've been serving honorably, and I think it's time that I put my talents and resources and experience to work on the city council. I have three main areas that I believe I would like to focus on the city council. The first is public safety. Now, I believe that public safety is a human right for all our residents in our city. And I'm sure everyone can feel that the crime has gotten pretty bad and markedly worse recently. In fact, I recently was the victim of crime. Someone came onto my property and stole my catalytic converter from my car right out of my driveway on a Saturday morning a few months ago. And, you know, we think we live in a very safe city, which generally we do, but it does seem like things are getting worse. And of course, you've probably heard of the few assault crimes that happened just down the street from me. I live close to Del Mar Valley, and down at the 99 Ranch Market, there were a few assaults that happened recently, and it's really unnerving. And like I said, as public safety should be a right for everyone to live in our city in a feel safe. It's a right for people to feel safe in their own community. So I'm going to be working real hard to ensure that and make sure the funding of our first responders is adequate. Second item that I would focus on is financial stability. Some of you may know that recently our city has been ranked very low, as in high risk, by the California State Auditor. We're starting to improve, but I would like to be able to use my skills to improve that further. As that I do have an accounting degree from UCLA, Business Economics Accounting, and like I said, I am involved as director on the Water District Board. So I have budget experience, I have financial experience and expertise, and I'm a business owner. I'm in property management. So, you know, I have the education and the experience to be able to be very helpful in that way. The third area that I would like to focus on is responsible development. Now, I feel strongly about this because I think that over the years, we've wasted a lot of opportunity that we could have taken to improve our development and our business climate. So, for example, I look to Alhambra, our neighbor, as a good role model. Now, they are, in ways, a destination place that has a fun area, and sadly, we don't. I mean, I have friends who live in Alhambra, and sometimes I go to Alhambra for their Main Street. They have a very diverse type of feel. They've got all kinds of restaurants and areas for entertainment. I mean, San Gabriel should be rivaling that level. We have the Mission. We're in the Mission Playhouse right now. So we should, the most natural thing is to develop this area so that people come for the Mission and, stay for restaurants, entertainment, of course, the plays at the Playhouse. But it should be a lot more robust than it currently is. So, in terms of attracting people to come and spend their money and augment our tax revenues in our city, we should be developing this area. And we just historically have not. So again, my financial background would really help in that way and get us on the right track. And, well, and Blossom Market Hall,
Thank you,
that is
Mr.
great.
Chan.
But
Your time is up.
yeah, I'd like to improve it. Thank you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. And next, we will have Mrs. Costanzo, Julie Costanzo.
Good evening.
Good evening.
eve-
Are you ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm always ready. Good evening, Vice Mayor Ding, Councilmember Harrington, and Councilmember Menchaca, City Attorney and City Manager. It's great to see you all tonight. You have a daunting task ahead of you, but it's exciting at the same time to see so many people wanting to come out and serve the city of San Gabriel. I remember back in the day when I first got elected, just trying to get a commissioner to come and volunteer was difficult. So this is exciting times. I have lived in San Gabriel for more than 50 years. My dad was a teacher at Coolidge Elementary and Jefferson, and my mom was one of the original founders of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation. So we have deep roots in the city of volunteerism. As you know, I've served on the city council for 17 years. 4 of those times I was mayor. And one of the questions asked was, would we be able to attend all the council meetings? In 17 years of being on city council, I only missed 2 meetings, and that was one when my dad passed and one when my husband passed. So I think that tells the story of my commitment to serving on the city council. I currently am the Director of Sales at the Hilton Hotel here in San Gabriel on Valley Boulevard, and I've been with the Hilton for approximately 18 years. And I love my job there, working with the people and my staff members. It's been difficult through COVID, but we're coming back and working hard to bring back the sales needed to contribute to the city too. It's part of our ongoing income. I think I bring value if I was appointed to the city council as interim because I've done 17 budgets over the years as a city council member. I've also participated in labor negotiations, and I know you're going through both of those right now as we move forward. So I do think institutional knowledge is very important to bring forward, and you certainly have my utmost respect and commitment to help along those lines. There is a learning curve when you first get on city council, as I'm sure Vice Mayor Ding has learned over the years, and you've done a tremendous job. I commend you. In the past, I have been honored to represent the city on several different boards. One of them, the LA County Sanitation District Board, the San Gabriel Valley Mosquito Vector Board, the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, and on that, I served on the Homelessness Committee. I was the Commissioner on Community Services here in San Gabriel, and I was the former 3-year president of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce. One of my most memorable times of serving was being the chair on the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority. We call it ACE, and ACE was responsible for overseeing the completion of the San Gabriel Trench, the project of lowering the railroad tracks here in San Gabriel. It was the biggest infrastructure project ever done in San Gabriel. It improved traffic flow, air quality, and certainly emergency services access. I'm currently the president of the San Gabriel Women's Foundation. I'm a San Gabriel Chamber member and volunteer. I serve as a board member and the membership chair for the San Gabriel Historical Association. I'm a member of Seroptimus currently and the San Gabriel Unified School District Wellness Committee. As we all know, nothing gets accomplished by just one. It takes a team working together, striving for the same goals. I was and am fortunate to work with amazing individuals whose passion is doing what's best for our community. I would look forward to serving as the interim city council member to keep the momentum moving forward in a positive, productive manner. I'm certainly here to answer any questions you may have of me.
We have 1 minute remaining. Councilwoman Menchaca,
No questions.
Councilmember Ding.
The question is, thank you for service the 17 years for our council member. And the question is, if you got appointed, you're still going to for the November election, or didn't got appointed, did you still going to for the November election?
You know, I take one day at a time. It's certainly a door that's still open for me, and we'll see how things move along. My main concern was just getting back to work, and now that I'm there, we'll certainly look as to what the future holds.
Thank you, Judy.
We have 20 seconds left.
I just thank you, Julie. I mean, I don't have any questions either.
Thank
20
you.
seconds, one.
Appreciate
Thank you, Mrs. Costanzo.
Thank you.
Our next applicant will be George Herrera. Good evening, Mr. Herrera.
Good evening.
Are you ready?
I am ready. Good evening, City Manager Mark, Councilmember Harrington, Vice Mayor Tony Ding, and Councilmember Denise Menchaca, and especially good afternoon. I don't know if I said good morning, but good afternoon to our San Gabriel residents. Let's not forget about who we represent. We represent today our San Gabriel residents. May I take this off or no? Yes? You guys would, I guess we are within the guidelines. Well, first and foremost, let me make my statement clear. I'm here to represent the city of San Gabriel, the residents of the city of San Gabriel. I'm here to work together as a team with each and every single one of you. I'm here to promote the city in the brightest way that I can see possible with all the capacity that I have and all the energy that I bring. Some of you guys, I've had the luxury of working together with each and every one of you. And you might see my commitment and my passion. If you know me, I'm a very passionate person. So with that said, the future for San Gabriel is bright. I know that from an outsider looking in, it might not look as good because two people basically had to step down. I know I'm getting asked so many questions. Well, what's going on in San Gabriel? Well, one person got appointed to a higher office, so congratulations. And then the other person had to step down, and I respect that because of health reasons. So with that said, enough of that. Let's move on to the future, the brightness of San Gabriel. And let me just say a little bit about myself. I grew up in South LA. I'm not ashamed of that whatsoever. My family migrated here from Guatemala. My mom was about 5 months pregnant with me as she crossed the border with my 4 older brothers. Well, Guatemala at that period of time in the 1980s was going through turmoil, and we had to move over here. Luckily, my dad had the courage to move over here. We landed in South LA. And with that said, my dad was a garment worker, and my mother was also a garment worker, and late at night, I remember going out, and my mom was an entrepreneur, very good entrepreneur, by the way. She made the best tamales. She made tamales, and she had her friends, and we went around South of Central LA, and we gave out tamales or sold tamales for, I believe, were for $1. You know, back then. Now, I mean, I'm sure they're like $6 or which have you. But anyways, my future, not my future, but my childhood, you know, I was the fifth of 5, and I have 4 older brothers, and I have 2 younger sisters. And I had nothing. My parents gave me everything, and I thought that was good enough. All I needed was their love. So I'm here offering San Gabriel residents my love and commitment to the city. With that said, I want to say a couple things that I aim to promote. First of all, the budget, obviously, that's the biggest talk right now, the financial budget, and trying to figure out. I don't have all the solutions. I know there's an issue. I'm here to work with you guys to do the research and to try to figure out what are the best steps to take. Number 2, safety. There's a lot, the crime is rising, not only in San Gabriel, but all across the board, and I don't want to get into it because I don't have that much time today. But safety is number 1, and getting some funds to rebuild this police department, give them a brand new facility. I know it's going to take time. That's why number 1, I'm sorry, that's why number 1 is the financial thing, issue that we're dealing with today. Number 3 is the beautification of San Gabriel. I don't plan to stop working hard, or not, let me retract that. I don't plan to destroy what was already was already built by you guys and Garros, or for lack of better words, from this team, from this council, from the previous council. I don't plan to try to fill the shoes that from my predecessors as well. I'm my own person and I can stand alone, and I'm here to ask hard questions that need to be asked. I'm here to make Mark feel uncomfortable. If I make Mark feel uncomfortable, then I'm doing my job, and I'm here to do my job. All we need to do is do our job. And if we do our job, then this city will be a brighter place. Beautification is number 3 on my list. What I mean by beautification is I hear everybody talking about parks. That's great. I hear some people talking about dog park. That would be nice. But mainly, I wanted to see some center islands with some trees and the corridors, the most busy corridors, and we can plant some trees there. That would be awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. Your time
Thank
is up.
you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Señor Koala.
Our next applicant will be Richard Shea. Welcome, Mr. Shea.
Good evening.
You can begin when you're ready.
Okay. Let me take a moment to thank the City Council for doing an admirable job in light of the challenges facing the city. I want to thank you, each one of you, for your dedication and commitment to the city. It is those qualities that inspire me to want to serve on this City Council. I won't repeat what is in my application, but I would like to highlight and elaborate on a couple of things. I have served as a reserve police officer in the city for 20 years, volunteer my time to keep the community safe. I have regularly interacted with a member of our community, residents, and businesses when I work patrol and numerous city events such as Chinese New Year Festival, Turkey Trail, various parades, and how can we forget the Dumpling and Beer Festival. I have patrolled all the city streets, neighborhoods, and responded to call for service. I understand the public safety issues that concern our residents and businesses. I have been a lawyer for over 30 years, with the last 10 years in public sector, working for the state and currently for the county. I understand the intricacies in government work and the patience needed to get difficult tasks resolved and work accomplished. I have attended numerous public meetings. I understand the Brown Act, and I know what it takes to create a desirable solution for involved parties in drafting ordinances, laws, or policies. With the pandemic impacting the city's finance, we face many challenges, and I want to contribute in a different way. My many years of public service compels me to use my experience and knowledge to better serve our city. I want to foster community pride, help develop vibrant local economy, and plan for our city's future, while preserving and enhance our community's diversity. Serving on the City Council will give me an opportunity to engage in a decision-making process and allow me to contribute and give back to our city in a positive way. I appreciate the opportunity, and I thank you for your consideration.
We have 2 minutes. Councilman Harrington?
Thank you. So I really appreciate that. I think what I would like to know, Richard, Wrong name. I see that you do serve right now currently for the city. One issue that I've really championed is crime. I really think you would know a lot about this, so I'll have this question for you. Regarding the district attorney, right now we are not prosecuting misdemeanors. I want to just get your thoughts on that and whether you would support prosecuting misdemeanors.
Well, I think from a public safety perspective, there are many factors that would contribute to the increase of crime in the county of Los Angeles. And I think there are many debates about that issue. What caused it? Was it the proposition that, release people, the no bail policy, the DA's policy of not prosecuting certain criminal offenses? I think it's difficult to pinpoint a specific reason for the increase in crime. And, we can talk about violent crimes, we can talk about property crimes and all that. But I think overall, the important thing is that we work with our community, our residents. We have to be in partnership with everyone, from the state to the federal, with other agencies. We have to strengthen our neighborhood watch programs. It's going to be a community effort to lower the crime. And the biggest thing, I think, is that we have to make sure that the first responders in our city have enough resources,
Thank
have
you, Mr.
sufficient
Shea.
resources.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is that my 5 minutes?
Yep, you're 5 minutes up.
Lies when you're having fun.
Thank you, sir. Our next applicant is Dr. Jennings Nunez. Good evening, doctor.
Good evening. Good evening, City Council members, administrators, staff, and community members. Thank you for this opportunity. So as Mark said, I'm Dr. Chastity Jennings Nunez. I have lived in San Gabriel for 17 years. When my husband and I decided to move here with our 2 children, who were 5 and 2, it was because San Gabriel was convenient to work. The home we were considering was in a safe, quiet, residential area, and the public elementary school was 2 blocks from the house. For a young family, one of the easiest ways to get involved with the community is through your child's school. I became an active volunteer at Coolidge Elementary from the time my daughter entered kindergarten. I was a member of the PTA, a room parent, helped coordinate programs, and volunteered whenever I was able. As a full-time OBGYN, that required coordination, but I continued to volunteer with the PTAs at Coolidge and Jefferson, ultimately deciding that I wanted to extend my support of our public schools beyond individual ones. I joined the board of the San Gabriel Educational Foundation, which supports and fundraises for all 8 SGUSD schools. Even though our family decided that for high school, our children would attend schools outside of SGUSD, I continued to volunteer on the board of the Educational Foundation and ultimately took on the role of president for 3 years. In that role, I gained significant leadership experience and met and collaborated with all of the school board members, all the city council members, local and state leaders like Catherine Varga, Mike Ng, and Ed Chow, and Congressional Representative Judy Chu. All of these people supported education and supported CEF. In this position, and after 17 years, I have also become friends with many business owners and residents throughout the city. I'm on the executive board of the San Gabriel Kiwanis Club, and in my professional life, I am the site director for the OBGYN hospitalist program at Glendale Adventist. The COVID pandemic and the serious social disparities it shined a light on, the back-to-back killings of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, and the overwhelming suffering that I was personally seeing as a physician, propelled me, like so many others, to get involved with social justice and change. Working with our city council and other San Gabriel residents, the result of that involvement locally was the formation of the Human Equity, Access, and Relations, or the HERE Commission, in October of 2022. I was appointed to that commission and now serve as the chairperson. So the last 2 years have been a time of active engagement in city government for me. I believe resident participation is critical for the success of our city. In terms of the qualities and skills I have that will make me a successful city council member, I am intelligent, a quick learner, able to synthesize complex ideas and relay them in a way that is more accessible to others. I'm a leader, but still understand the importance of working in a team. I'm accustomed to assuming multiple roles depending on what is needed. I'm respectful, appreciative, and work well with others. I have strong convictions that guide my actions, but am not unwilling to listen to others. My schedule is now flexible enough that I have the time, and I'm not dependent on this position as a source of income, because I don't know if the community realizes it, but city council members only make about $900 a month. And finally, I strongly believe that a diversity of thought and experiences is necessary to be representative of all of our residents, and I would continue to promote this inclusion and participation of everyone. I want to be a city council member to serve our city. Honestly, my biggest hesitation in applying for this position is leaving my role on the HERE Commission. The 6 other commissioners and city staff that I serve with are incredible. They're passionate about our purpose, and there's still a lot of work to do. But I decided that I can better address issues that are important to all of our residents, like safety, housing, and providing opportunities, all of the positive aspects that attracted my family to San Gabriel 17 years ago as a member of the City Council.
We have 45 seconds. Councilwoman Menchaca.
Wow, I always get the short time slot. Real briefly, Chastity, you have done tremendous work, as you said. But in the last 2 years, I've seen the city also transform itself. It's now, we're all moving forward, and that's the exciting part. A lot of fresh perspectives. You're one of them. What else would you like to see if you served on city council?
So on the City Council application, they asked about kind of our vision and our priorities. And I think, you really can't have a discussion with anyone in the city without the idea of safety coming up, of inclusion is another one that is a big priority for me, and for opportunities. And in terms of safety.
Your time is up, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next applicant is Eric Lee. Good evening, Mr. Lee.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my name is Eric, and before I start, a couple things about myself. I've lived in San Gabriel pretty much all my life. I went to Coolidge Elementary School, Jefferson Middle School, and graduated from Gabriel High School. I'm an entrepreneur and opened my own business at the age of 21. I've also served in the United States Army and also currently in the California National Guard. And through my military training and experiences, I've matured and developed a strong sense of leadership and self-discipline, and I believe that would make me a successful candidate. I also understand the notions of political pressure, and not only from current administration, but from my leadership in the military that would make acclamations to said political pressures and other related stress easier. As a business owner, I've also hosted San Gabriel's first flea market event, and where I brought different creatives and other small businesses to the city of San Gabriel. And from this event, I contributed towards the economic growth of the city of San Gabriel, and provided ideas on utilizing the city's properties on where we can use it for the full potential for San Gabriel's social economic benefit. Moreover, being a business owner has taught me valuable lessons and helped me develop prevalent skills. For one, I have a strong initiative and a sense of leadership that focuses on action-oriented ideals. Or in other words, I like to create long-term changes and positive impacts within my community. But roughly 35% of San Gabriel's residents consist of residents ages 30 years old or under, and pretty sure I'm the youngest candidate here. I can offer fresh new ideas and a perspective, and a prominent objective I have for the city of San Gabriel is to increase and appeal to the younger audiences and also retain our small city charm that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Vice Mayor Ding.
Yeah, okay. I think I can just answer the question. I didn't put any position for myself, okay? Just for the bigger view, okay? If you got appointed, so did you still go into the running for the November election, or if you didn't get an appointment, still go to the November election?
Yeah, regardless about what happens here tonight, I would definitely still be interested in pursuing, a career as like a council member here in the city of San Gabriel.
Thank you, Eric.
Councilman Harrington?
Thank you, Mark. I would like to follow up on your service in the military. I think that's a very, it builds a lot of character. And regarding that, serving for the city would be similar. I want to follow on the same question I asked the last applicant regarding crime in the city and what your perception is, and what do you think you could do about the escalating crime?
I think that's something that we can't really. I mean, crime is increasing. Like, there's no way to hide around it or anything like that. I think moving forward, we have to decide as a city and as a group on what we should do better together to decrease that crime. I don't think locking everyone up is always the right answer. We should definitely see better alternatives, in terms of how we can decrease the crime rates.
Thank you.
We have 90 seconds left. Councilwoman?
Great. Well, first of all, I don't think you're the youngest. I'll let you know that right now. Because
really?
there's quite a few of you that happen to go to school with my daughters. So
That's crazy.
very interesting, yes. But it's not on the application, the age. I just know that, my intel. Question for you. You summarized your perspective as being younger, and there's things that you see that maybe a different age group would not see.
Yes.
If you served on as a council member, what would be your number one effort from now to November? What would be your focus?
I think my focus right now is to improve I noticed that what we're doing here in this mission district and how we're trying to revitalize that and improve economic growth here. And I know that we're trying to attract the younger audience. So I think with the opening of Blossom, I think that was really a great first step into, starting something there. And whatever I can do in the next, 8-9 months, I would definitely try to improve on having a better, how do you call it? I just want younger audiences to or younger generations or younger kids to want to be around San Gabriel, and not go to other cities like Alhambra to go eat. I want them to come to San Gabriel, for what I've known San Gabriel for all my life.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Our next applicant would be Rodney Luck. Good evening, Mr. Luck.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Vice Mayor Ding, Councilwoman Menchaca, and Councilman Harrigan, thank you for this, and staff, thank you for this opportunity to speak before you in this interview. One of the key directives in the city's strategic plan is, quote, engage the community to foster civic pride and ownership. Thank you for holding these interviews, because it has done exactly that. Engaged the community and fostered civic pride and ownership. But I'm here tonight, simply just to offer up my services and help out. The city needs to immediately fill 2 council seat positions so the business of government can continue effectively. I'm a team player. I'm a good listener. I can be counted on. I will always have the best interests of the city, the residents, and the taxpayers. It's about what is best for the city the next 8 months, and I can immediately step in the role as a council person. I worked 32 years as a civil servant in the city of Los Angeles. I'm very familiar with and experienced in the workings of city council and municipal government, having worked for 16 years as a legislative and regulatory analyst for the Department of Water and Power. I have prepared proposals, resolutions, and worked before the Board of Water and Power Commissioners and the City Council of Los Angeles, and have worked directly with the Los Angeles City Attorney's Office throughout my career. I'm also a licensed mechanical engineer with the state of California. As a supervising engineer at DWP for the last 10 years, I approved daily fuel purchases of $500,000 to $1 million. I'm very familiar and experienced in government budgets and expenditures. As a third-generation Chinese American, I have deep roots in San Gabriel Valley, and I have lived in the last 14 years in San Gabriel. I also want to help the community. In the late 1990s, I was the founding member and lead advocate of the Hope Organization of Montebello, Homeowners to Protect the Environment. I worked directly with the community for years to elevate their concerns regarding the negative impacts of the construction of a high school football stadium. In 2001, I worked the night shift as an emergency responder for LA immediately after the 9/11 attacks on this country, coordinating resources for the city. 2 years after Hurricane Katrina, I joined members of my church to go help out in New Orleans to rebuild flood-damaged communities and homes. I have tutored elementary school students in Glendale and Pasadena. I have engaged the City Council over the last several years on sewer service charge, utility user tax, and the coyote invasion we've had recently. I'm very passionate on the following things: clean and well-maintained streets, a city where people feel safe to live and to work. I feel the taxpayers need to get the full value of whatever taxes they pay. And also, I'm very passionate about the retention of local control and governance for a municipality such as San Gabriel. We need to push back on the one-size-fits-all provisions of SB 9. And lastly, updating the strategic plan is very much needed so that we can preserve the history of the city and unique neighborhoods which we are to embrace in the future. My efforts on the council would best be served that way, so I'm here just basically to help out. Thank you very much.
45 seconds, Vice Mayor Ding.
Continue same question. If we got appointed, did you still go to the November election? Or if we didn't got appointed, still go for the November election?
If I get positive feedback that my role as an interim council person is positive, I will consider running again.
Okay, thank you. Ronnie.
15 seconds.
Yeah, I'll defer. I think 15 isn't enough to even ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. Love.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Our next applicant will be Sean McMorris. Good evening, Mr. McMorris.
Do you prefer that I keep my mask on, or?
Your preference.
Okay, I'll keep it on. All right, thank you. I've prepared a statement, so I'll go ahead and read that and then open it up for any questions. Good evening to the City Council and the public. First, I would like to recognize the good work of Council members Jason Poo and Chin Ho Lau while they were here on the Council, and thank them for the public service to the city that they gave. Their shoes will be hard to fill, but they have laid a solid foundation for the replacements to build upon. I also want to acknowledge the difficult role that the council is now tasked with in replacing 2 duly elected representatives of the city. I know that all of you on the council take your public service seriously and will do your best to fill the vacant seats with candidates who you believe are qualified, up to the task, and hold the best interest of the city at heart. Whether I am appointed or not, I respect the process and I have faith in the good judgment of the council. Now, I would like to tell you a little bit about myself and why I have applied for a seat on the City Council. I know that you have my application with requested information and answers to relevant questions, but I would nonetheless like to briefly summarize for the public my background, qualifications, and motivations for applying. As to why I have applied, the simple answer is because I love and care for the city I call home. San Gabriel embraced me over 20 years ago without judgment or condition, and I never forgot that. My residency here has positively shaped me,
I am grateful to be part of the San Gabriel community and will gladly take on a representative role if requested. My motives are not complicated. I want to help my fellow residents and the city's workforce improve their lives, feel safe, feel well represented, and feel heard. Additionally, as a renter in a majority renter city, I believe I would bring meaningful context to city council discourse on matters that affect the majority of residents. To my background and qualifications, I have devoted much of my life to understanding the role of government and effective democratic processes. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in international affairs. I have lived and worked abroad, which has given me perspective and provided me with great appreciation for different cultures and diverse worldviews. In my day job as the Transparency, Ethics, and Accountability Program Manager for the good government organization, California Common Cause, I research law and policy daily and engage weekly with government bodies and members of the public to build consensus for policies that improve democracy through increased transparency, accountability, and public participation. Outside of work, I am civically engaged in San Gabriel and surrounding communities to advocate for equity and justice for society's most vulnerable. Finally, as to how I would govern, I intend to be accessible to all and act in a fair and measured manner when making decisions. I believe the homeowner, the renter, the houseless, the worker, and the business owner all deserve to be heard and fairly represented. Where there is common ground to be had, I will seek it. When there is disagreement, I will listen to all sides. When there is pain in the community, I will do my best to act swiftly and compassionately. I am not naive enough to believe that I can satisfy all people all of the time, but I will try diligently to satisfy most people most of the time. And when I don't see eye to eye with others, it will not be for a lack of listening or reflection. I am certainly not perfect, but I will always be honest with the community and take responsibility for my actions. And if, in retrospect, I determine that I came down on the wrong side of an issue, then I will admit my error and do my best to remedy the situation. There is no place for ego and pettiness in representative government. Finally, my attention will be to the residents, not special moneyed interest, power brokers, or a select few. My decisions will be based on a thorough understanding of the matter at hand, what is fair, and what is beneficial to most residents. I want to thank the council and the residents for their consideration.
We have 30 seconds. Mr. Harrington?
Thank you, Mark. One thing I saw you listed there, Mr. Morris, was the, on your vision, you said you wanted to, one of the items, there's a lot there, but was to lower crime rates. I wanted to see how you think we could go about that.
Yeah, crime is rising across the whole community. Yes, I agree about that. I do agree that our police force has to be adequately resourced and funded, but the first thing I would want to do on the council is to talk to Chief Harris and the police officers and look at the data and get their perspective and see what's going on. But also, I think it's difficult.
Thank you, Mr. McMorris.
Okay.
Sorry
Thank
to
you.
cut you off. So, Mr. Vice Mayor, we are just a bit over halfway through. Would you like to take a break now or continue on?
Take a break, 5 minutes. Or 10 minutes, okay.
That's good. Okay, we will
It is,
recess
yeah.
for 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's not part of my time.
You still have 5 minutes.
10-minute break. We will recess for 10 minutes. All right. So our next applicant is Mark Maharo, but he didn't check in at our table. Is Mr. Maharo in the building? All right, going once, going twice. Okay, then Mrs. Bridget Prince will be our next applicant.
Nick withdraw.
Yes.
Hello,
Good evening, Mrs. Prince.
Good evening.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, thank you all for this process. I think it's very good for the city, the way you've organized this and pulled this together. It's kind of fun. So I just wanted to first address that I do believe that I would be a responsive council member, both responsive to our city residents as well as to the council itself. So I wanted to tell you that I'm already listening and that I heard your concern about whether candidates would be running, and so I'll just address that right away. Initially, when the one seat opened, I thought, oh, you know, I could help the city out for the rest of the term, and you know, get in and understand what's going on with the city and help out. With the two seats, it kind of changes the dynamics a little bit, and I might actually consider running, but I think I would have an opportunity to get in and see if I am able to contribute, and what other candidates came up, whether it would make sense to run or not. I have run a candidacy for water board, so I understand what I'm doing by stepping up to do it. You know, it is a big commitment. So, and I don't do things halfway. I would, you know, be serious about it. So, hopefully that answers that question. I'm a resident of San Gabriel for 37 years. My husband and I have raised our two children here, and went all the way through the public school systems and are very wonderful contributing adults now. And we've owned two homes. We owned a small home to start with, and we decided to stay in San Gabriel. So we're here to stay. We're here committed, and I'd like to help out a little bit. I do think that I can contribute. I'm very much a positive problem solver. I worked for 35 years in corporate America. I worked for 3 CPG manufacturing organizations, and I worked on a lot of big teams. And I think I'm a good team member, and I think I could help the city out. So with that, you know, I have a lot of other information on my resume and application, but maybe if you had any questions.
Councilwoman Menchaca, we have 2 minutes left.
Great. So my question is, Bridget, that you know, we've had so much change, especially in the last 2-3 years of moving forward and really being much more inclusive, tackling hate, especially Asian hate that has taken place in our community. What areas have you seen, whether it's public safety, the budget, what areas do you think would be one that you would really kind of naturally navigate to, or is it just everything that's needed?
Well, first of all, I'm a very inclusive person, and our family is very inclusive, and we have Asian members of our family who are actually watching right now, so hi, Holden. But also, I think an area that, so it's kind of two-pronged, your question, but the area that I think I would be best able to help the team with is in planning. And I think, you know, I know that we're due for a long-range plan, and I've done a lot of planning for a lot of different companies, and I think you don't really get some of the big projects done unless you have a cohesive plan, that everybody really knows what your priorities are and, you know, how you want to get about tackling them. And I think I was very inspired by a lot of the applications. I think a lot of people have great ideas. I just don't know if some of the candidates would be able to help execute those ideas, or to get them in a plan where they could be executed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Dink, 30 seconds.
So based on the previous the question, so right now for you is an important issue. It's the first
And I'm
priority.
sorry, your microphone is a little bit.
First priority, what's the issue you would be focused on?
What my first priority is?
Yeah.
Well, my first priority is continuing to make this city a wonderful place to live. And it includes all the things that the people have been mentioning. You know, you guys tackled the streets, I think, very well. And I appreciate that.
Your time is up. Thank you so much. I gave you a couple seconds for the mic cut out.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Our next applicant will be Mark Ramos.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Mr. Ramos. Whenever you're ready.
I would like to thank everyone for the opportunity for me to be up here, and I would love to represent the city of San Gabriel. And most of you up there know me, and I hope I can become one of you. And I want to thank the residents of the San Gabriel to come out here, and you have a bunch of great candidates up here. Hopefully you'll take me in consideration, because I am here for the city. My name is Mark Ramos. I've been living here since 2000. I met my beautiful wife in 1986, so I've been actually involved with the city of San Gabriel since 1986. About myself, I'm in the paint industry. I've been doing it for 38 years as a sales rep. And I deal with a lot of architects. I deal with a lot of contractors, property management. So I'm in the sales field. So I'm not afraid to speak my word. I'm a very good listener, because in the business of sales, you need to be a good listener so you can solve problems. And that's what I'm here for, is to solve problems. I may not have the right answer, but I will dig into it and look into what the residents of the city of San Gabriel have to, I shouldn't say complain, but concerns that they may have. I'm also a manager at Coal Banker Dynasty in Temple City. I'm also a real estate agent. I've been involved with local government since probably 1986. I go to a lot of council meetings in LA, a lot of cities I get involved with. I just like to know what's going on with different cities, so I can bring that education to you as part of being a councilman. Also, I've been involved with, I've been president actually of LACBOR, which is LA County Board of Real Estate. I've donated a lot of my time to organizations. I've been a member of the San Gabriel Chamber, proud member actually. Unfortunately, I had to step down for health issues that I dealt with since 2015, which, thank the Lord, I have good results, that everything is going forward. I may not have the education or the experience to represent, but I have the heart, I have the willingness, and I have the ear. And I think that's all what the city of San Gabriel residents are looking for, is an ear to, you know, let me know what's going on with the city, I may not have the answer, like I said, but I will dig into and with my local council members to deal with issues that the city has. And I know the budget keeps coming up. Also, the police department. I know they're losing a lot of good officers with other cities that are just throwing money and recruiting from great police officers that we have in the city. And I hate to see that. So that's one of the issues that I have is keeping our police department together, intact, and keeping them here in our city, and keeping our residents safe. That's another issue, is keeping our residents safe. So hopefully, we have laws that will put those misdemeanor people, in jail longer. Let's see, what else? I'm not a follower. I'm more of a leader. I'm very quiet. I'm not a bubbly, out there type of guy. When people talk, I listen, and I think that's my biggest quality. I listen, and I resolve things.
Thank you, Mr. Moramos. Your time is up.
Oh, thank you.
Our next applicant is Jeannie Riot. Mrs. Riot? Good evening, ma'am.
That's a low chair. I sit on the edge there. Good evening, council members. I appreciate the opportunity to be considered for an appointment to a council vacancy. I think my written application speaks to why me, my qualifications, and my community ties. I'm not a stranger to the council or to the community, having my family business, having been here now for 62 years in the Mission District, and my involvement with a number of community organizations. I support the Kiwanis, the Community Foundation, the Historical Association, the POA. I've also served as president of the chamber and as a La Casa board member. The large number of applicants here tonight indicates that this is an opportunity that has sparked the interest of a very diverse group of residents. We all want to serve. The critical question is, who can serve best for the period between now and November? We don't know whether appointed members will choose to run, and we don't know what the field might be in November. I believe the wisest course, when the normal order of business has been disrupted, is to appoint candidates with relevant experience in governing, budget analysis, policy deliberations, and public meeting protocols. They should demonstrate independence, be open-minded, reasonable, and should have built a measure of trust with a broad range of the community. I believe I fit that description based on my experience in community relationships, and I can begin working productively with you from day one. 8 months is a short time to put a stamp on policy, but it's a significant amount of time to set a tone and goals for positive leadership leading up to the election in November. This is a time to open doors to fresh leadership and ideas, and I would be honored to serve.
We have 2.5 minutes. Mr. Harrington?
Thank you. Thanks for applying, Gene. One question. I know when we're coming to budget season, so that's always, it's a zero-sum game for us. We don't get to print money like the federal government. So we have, I'd like to know when it comes to the budget, how you face difficult decisions, such as, we can't do everything we want to do. We can't pave and, hire more police and, build a new police department, buy more fire equipment. We can't do all of that. So how do you approach those types of tough decisions where it is a zero-sum?
I think there are a number of considerations. First is, what are you hearing from the community, which is actually an issue I have some concern about because I don't think we hear from enough of the community. Secondly, it's a matter of hearing from our people on the ground, our staff, police, fire, the people who are out in the community interacting much more broadly, certainly, than the council is able to do on a daily basis. And third, it's a matter of exercising the judgment that you try to bring, what you know from your life experience, your experience living in the community, and so on.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Menchaca, a minute and a half.
Yes, hi, Dean. You do have a very interesting background because you have generations of family members who've been here, and somehow you've continued to also be very active, and you've seen the changes, and you've, I feel like you've been at the pulse. Based on what you've seen over the years, and we'll just go back maybe 2-3 years now, what's the one thing that's really stood out to you?
I think it has been the recognition that there's always work to be done, and this has been mentioned by other speakers, but on community relations, on social justice issues. Sometimes we're very comfortable. This is a comfortable city to live in. I feel safe. I think that there is definitely a sense of people wanting to make the community stronger. And I think that's a particular thing I would like to work on if I were on the council, just engaging the community, not just around social justice issues, but just to get them engaged on all the issues that the council has to do.
Thank you.
Have about 10 seconds left.
Speed talk. Oh, you want your question, Vice Mayor?
Just 10 minutes is not enough time.
Okay, really fast. My intentions are to serve if I'm appointed, and I think
Your
my
time is up.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I think I spoke to it earlier.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Our next applicant is Karina Rivera. Mrs. Rivera.
Council members and Mayor, Mark.
Whenever you're ready.
For those that don't know me, my name is Karina Rivera. I am a resident and business operator here in the city of San Gabriel. When I first moved to San Gabriel to begin working for the family business, I did not know what to expect of this quiet little city. I was new not only to the business of baking, but as a resident to the city. I soon learned that there is more to baking than what I had learned throughout the years from the Pillsbury Doughboy. And more importantly, how welcoming this city is. My family and I were embraced by this city, and I feel it is my duty to give back. For the past 18 years, I have grown a successful business with 5 locations. I run every single aspect of the business. I do the accounting, the payroll, the ordering, the inventory, the profit loss, labor negotiation, contract negotiations, employee hiring and retention, budgeting, scheduling, and customer service. I often have to make hard budgeting choices, especially in the past 2 years. Choices that affect both short-term and long-term, all while keeping the best interests at hand for the employees and the stakeholders of the company. Each of these skills I have apply directly to the City Council. The position requires character, integrity, and a strong connection to the city residents. I believe I have the skills to serve faithfully and openly. Operating 5 bakeries and restaurants has offered me the opportunity to have many contacts throughout the LA Basin, and council needs to have a small business representative. Business retention is very important to the city's revenue. Having a business knowledgeable member in the council will tell small businesses, we understand you, we are here for you. We all want to see San Gabriel grow, prosper, and transition with the times. We want to see San Gabriel thrive and be a city where businesses will want to open and stay, therefore creating more jobs for our residents. I want to keep our city as a safe community with many resources available to the current and the newer generations to come. Many of my longtime customers are San Gabriel residents. I have built a strong connection to the community and have been an active participant and donor to city events. I am currently on the board of the San Gabriel Chamber of Commerce, a member of the San Gabriel Women's Foundation, have been on the parent planning committee at the San Gabriel Mission High School where my daughter completed her high school, and I have supported events and families at the San Gabriel Shelter Family Promise. Perhaps you have attended one of the events that I have hosted at the bakery, where members of the community were invited to come, mix, mingle, dine on our delicious food at no cost. Perhaps you've seen the beautiful mural on the side of the building of Walnut Grove. My family and I personally commissioned and paid for that mural, which has now become a city landmark. We brought together students and adults from Don Bosco, San Gabriel Mission High School, and other local organizations and churches to paint this full-size, engaging work of art. A lot of you joined us for the unveiling of the mural. Engaging and bringing the community together are important to me. I want that bridge that brings together the council with the underrepresented communities. Due to my high customer value at El Pablo Bakery, I'm very well known in the city. That can help me bring community voices to the council and be able to contribute positive changes. Our working class residents, our veterans, our youth need to feel a sense of connection to our council so that they may be encouraged to participate in community events. The pandemic has affected all of us, and we need to come together with our community to rebuild and renew. The residents of San Gabriel will seek more services geared towards community involvement and unification. I want to be a part of the council that listens to its residents, one that is actively involved in our schools and businesses, and helps expand access to desperately needed services. As a council member, I hope to work together with the current council to bring much needed mental health awareness, which is something that I personally take dear because it hit my home. Resources and services for parents and children alike whose lives have been touched by mental health issues. Although one wishes to wave a magic wand and create a perfect world, unfortunately, it's not so simple. It takes a lot of dedication and teamwork to make all the small changes. I want to be a part of this courageous team.
I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next applicant will be Erlinda Romo. Good evening, Mrs. Romo.
Good evening. Honorable Vice Mayor and City Council members, my name is Erlinda Romo. I am a retired Downtown Association and Economic Development professional. I dedicated my career working in the San Gabriel Valley. I worked for various communities, both public sector and private sector. So I have been on both sides of city field. I have always worked with the diverse members of community with whatever my job was, property owners, city, staff, officials, council members, police, on and on. Whatever my job was, there was always that liaison between what I was doing in the business community, or as a city employee, I was the one reaching out to the business community as well. I have worked for the city of San Gabriel. I have lots of leadership skills. At the age of 24, I was elected to the California Downtown Association, and I was president of a state organization before my 30th birthday. I have received lots of accolades for my work. Most recently in Pasadena, I was listed both in Business Life, Pasadena Magazine, and the Arroyo magazine for my work that I was doing in Pasadena. In my local community, San Gabriel, I have helped out with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, room mom, PTA, school board with my kids when we're little. I'm very lucky that they're grown up, so I have time and energy to help out. I currently serve as Vice Chair of the Design Review Commission, and I'm Chair of the San Gabriel Mission Finance Council. That being said, I'd like to be on the City Council if you consider me, so I can share my work and knowledge in economic development to make San Gabriel a better place to live, work, and visit. The three issues that I would pursue are sustainability, community building, and fiscal stewardship. Sustainability is vital for all humanity. There are small and large initiatives that can be implemented to reduce the use of natural resources. I feel that's very important, and it all starts with here in our community. Successful community building creates a desire to invest in your community. Differentiating San Gabriel from all other communities is key to future investment of a few dollars, of buying dinner or boba, tea or coffee, to spending millions on a development project. Fiscal stewardship is needed for balanced annual budgets and for future stability. I left a lot of time, hopefully, for questions, and I want to thank you, and I hope that my experience as a creative problem solver, my hard work ethic, will be a good fit on the City Council. I'm ready for your questions.
We have 90 seconds. Vice Mayor Ding.
Yeah, thank you to have the activity in our city, and you applied this appointment. If you got appointed, did you still going to run in the November election, or if not got an appointment, did you go into for the November election?
Okay. Can you speak into the mic, because I'm
Okay, yeah, so the question is, if we got appointed, you still go into for the November election, because currently just temporary, right? And if we not got appointed, did you still go into running for November election too?
Okay. Well, I put in my application with the understanding that it would be appointment, and then the position would be up for general election in November. And I would, at this point, that would be my commitment if the voters would elect me in November. I want to say that in Pasadena there was a vacancy, and the City Council made it clear that they did not want to appoint someone that was going to be up for re-election, and that was also what the community wanted. So I think if that is the desire of the City Council.
Your time is up.
It would be nice.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Our next applicant did not check in at the table, so I just want to make sure that somehow we didn't miss him. Elijah Silva, are you in the building? Okay, so we will move on. Our next applicant would be Reno Tai. Mr. Tai. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, I'm ready. Hello, everyone. My name is Reno Tai, and I want to thank you for all having me. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I've lived in San Gabriel all my life. I love San Gabriel. I love everything about it, the city, the people, the food. I went to Madison Elementary School before it became Jefferson. I also went to San Gabriel Academy during junior high, and for high school, I went to Gabrielino. But my freshman year, there was a fire, so technically I graduated Bungalino. And 21 years ago, Mr. Carney was my geometry teacher. I don't know if he remembers me. And yeah. So most of my family live in San Gabriel. If your last name is Tai, you're most likely related to me. And that makes about 20% of the population here. All joking aside, why I feel I'm qualified for this position. I currently work as a project manager for my company, where I manage our company's website and the development team. We are known as servant leaders. I don't manage the team members. They don't report to me. What I do is I enable my team to do their best work. And I feel that's very similar to the role of council member. You are not authority figures like police. Instead, you are people here to serve the city and the people in the city. As far as my community involvement, I've been a part of the leadership team with an organization called Compassion and SGV. For those of you that don't know, our organization was founded exactly a year ago as a result of the hate crimes against our elders. We provide free chaperone services to people in the San Gabriel Valley to make them feel safe in public. We helped organize the hate rally at Vincent Lugo Park last year, and we also organized free self-defense courses last summer. Although our goal was to provide people with a sense of security, we accomplished a lot more. Our events and chaperoning brought the community together during a time where no one wanted to leave the house. And we really take pride in that, and it's been a really rewarding experience for me. Why I wish to become city council member. I feel right now with the pandemic running wild, increase in violent crimes, housing market and renting costs forcing families to move, it has resulted in a lot of uncertainty and fear in our community. And if this continues, our predictable future is that our citizens will become very jaded. They develop a feeling of hopelessness. Kids will grow up unmotivated, not confident, and won't be the future leaders we need them to be. But I believe we can break from that possible future and create a new possibility for San Gabriel. Now I'll leave you with one final thing. I was not a confident kid growing up. I struggled making friends. I was a very bitter kid, always asking, why do other kids have more? I did poorly in school and had this saying in high school, D is for diploma, and those were my grades. And my predictable future wasn't looking great. Luckily, I had a older cousin who believed in me, took a stand for my greatness, and mentored me throughout community college. I worked the hardest I ever worked at ELAC, transferred with honors, and graduated from UCLA, which was one of the most proudest moments of my life. So I'm living proof that we can all create our own future. We just need someone who believes in us and take a stand for our greatness, and I will be that person for San Gabriel.
We have 1 minute. Councilman Harrington.
Thank you. Thank you, Reno, for applying. I really commend you on stepping up and helping the community. That shows a lot of leadership in itself.
Thank you.
So I would ask you, along those lines, it's great that you did that, but we shouldn't be in a point where that has to happen. So regarding crime, what do you think the city can do about those types of issues where people don't feel safe to go into the house? Like, what can the city provide the residents?
You know, that's a very hard answer. I don't know at the top of my head, but what I believe is we really need to really listen to our community's concerns, and really listen with not what's wrong, but just really listen to what's it like in their world. Be in their world, and why are they so concerned, and really start from there and address it from there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tai. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Our last applicant for the evening is Jeffrey Welch. Good evening, Mr. Welch.
Thank you so much for this awesome opportunity. Came out of nowhere for me, but going to make it. My name is Jeffrey Welch, and I moved here in 1989 from upstate New York, a small town, and with the inevitable culture shock that came from moving to Los Angeles, I never felt settled here until we were able to buy my wife's grandmother's house in San Gabriel in 2002. We still live in that same house. We've raised 4 children, all went to McKinley Elementary. A couple of them did AYSO, a couple did baseball at Vincent Lugo Park. My wife, Julie, served on the board of McKinley PEP for 11 years, all 4 kids, and has performed in this very theater, and most recently has taught theatrical classes and events right here at the Playhouse and at the next door recreation center. I worked here when she was performing at the theater, moving stage props and whatnot. That was back in the 1900s. I'm a small business owner in San Gabriel. I've been in this area for about 6 years. A couple years ago, I had an office at Victor's Industrial Park right down the street. Because of the mission project that every 3rd grader has to endure in our city, my wife and I developed a fascination with the history of the San Gabriel Valley and the mission. Our valley has a unique legacy. The native tribes in this area referred to the valley as land of flowing waters, fruitful valley. They recognized the peace and prosperity inherent in the valley. 250 years ago, the Spanish Padres named the mission after heaven's highest angel. In the Bible, Gabriel's first words when he spoke were always, "Fear not, for you have found favor with God." Again, within the name, dispensation of peace and favor. My vision would be to reinforce and perpetuate this legacy of peace, prosperity, and favor, and to nurture a culture of honor. Last October, I started running. I've never run in my life. And I started running the turkey trot. It goes right by my house. The turkey trot was canceled this year, but it started a passion for running. And so I have since expanded my route, and frequently, several times this week already, I run right up past City Hall, and I run through this parking lot, and I stop and stare at the theater because it's a beautiful place. I love this. And I've discovered that when I'm running, I find myself praying for the city, for the houses or meditating, maybe is a better word. I meditate on the houses that I'm running by, and I find myself just kind of speaking blessing as I run. And I've run pretty much every city street now the last 4 months. I just have developed a love for San Gabriel. Last week I was speaking to a business mentor of mine, and he said, you really got to find this intersection of your passion and your gifting. Once you find that intersection, you just sow into that. And then within days, this opportunity came up, and I find myself realizing that I have a real passion. I'm a passionate bridge builder. I'm motivated. My love language is acts of service. My goal would be to bring joy and community into any environment that I find myself in. I hope to bring wisdom as well to the table. I work well with others. A phrase that's been bouncing around my head the last few weeks is the power of partnership. I don't know how that applies yet, but thinking about it. In the future, I envision that one of my favorite elements of this job would be, I remember seeing Chin Ho and Jason Poo at various city and school events. I want to do that. I want to speak life into our community to instill a sense of unity and a heart of service to our community. We're a diverse group of people, and I would strive to honor each group and nurture a culture of honor that would enable San Gabriel to live up to our legacy, a place of peace and favor where each citizen can prosper. Yesterday, I texted my mom to show her this sweet coat that I got at the Salvation Army yesterday because I didn't have a coat. And so I sent her a picture, and she wrote back. She said, it looks great. You're very handsome, my mom. You'll be an invaluable asset as a councilman. Tell them that your mother said so. I finished with that.
We only have 10 seconds left. So
Oh, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
My daughter went to Syracuse University. What city are you from? Upstate?
I'm from just south of Rochester, a very small town. but my dad would take me to Syracuse, and we watched Syracuse Orangemen,
Okay.
back when they were called the Orangemen.
Great.
I wasn't there in '87 when they won the championship.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Welch.
Thank you.
All right, so that concludes the interview portion for tonight. Council, if you can take a few moments and put your thoughts together and use the tally sheets to come up with your 8 candidates that you'd be interested in seeing tomorrow, and then tally that.
Right now, it is. Just write on A candidate.
That's right.
Okay.
Check the
Okay.
box.
A yes. There's a yes spot over there.
I'm going to tally this up. I think I speak for the council when I say this is going to be very difficult, or it has been difficult for them, and they think everybody. So if your name doesn't end up with a vote, it does not mean that it was an easy choice for them. Okay, so the results are on the screen. It looks like we have 3 people who received 3 votes and 3 people who received 2 votes. So it seems like we decided we were going to go somewhere around 6, so we make the suggestion we go with all the 3s and the 2s and do half-hour interviews tomorrow night.
I agree.
So for those of you who can't see if you're in the back, the 3 names in no particular order other than alphabetical: Richard Shea, Karina Rivera, John Wu, Dr. Chastity Jennings Nunez, Sean McMorris, and Jeannie Raya. All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I turn it back over to you.
All right. Okay. All right. It's now time. Wait, that's done. Wait. What is okay. Today the meeting is adjourned. Okay, and the meeting adjourned for the will be closer to the. Okay. Adjourned to the February 10th special city council meeting, and that's tomorrow, 6:30.
That's right. Thank you all very much.